Hello everyone! Welcome to day 3 of the Maine yarn cruise. Today is the only day that I can say, go west, young man! Because the stores are a bit farther west than where I'm actually staying. I'm actually staying in the western part of the state and these stores are more west. But it's kind of weird to be saying that with a state that is the farthest east in the United States, yeah. Also, it's farm day. 2 of the 4 stores that I have planned for today are farms. So maybe there'll be some animal shots. I don't know about that. We'll see. Anyway, one of the stores was crazy enough to open up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not that much of an early bird. So I'm going to head to that one first because I know they'll be open. But for reference, most yarn stores open at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I just came out of Nescott Farms. This place is amazing. Let's just start with that. It's kind of a multi-purpose space. So the bottom part is a restaurant and like little farm store type of deal, while the top part is the yarn store. And they make their own wool here. Like they make their own yarn, they dye their own wool here. It's like dyed right on site. And like they also sell like a lot of spinning stuff. There's a lot of weaving stuff as well. And it was just a completely different vibe. Like right when I entered like the top part, there was a cat. It's like, oh my gosh, cat. And the cat came right up to me. His name is Thomas. I'm going to insert a little clip of Thomas here. It's like I see lots of pictures of cats online, and just like the pictures and videos don't quite do it for me, but seeing a cat in person, I always forget how soft they are. And then there's also a piano right at the stairs, and like someone actually started playing the piano while I was in the shop. I also saw lots of yarns and brands that I haven't seen in other places yet. So let's start with some of the other stuff. On top right here I have the rovings. If you're going to come here to get like roving, a lot of it is sold by the ounce. They can measure it for you, and like I ended up just asking the employee there, Connie, to help me with measuring out the roving, and she was very kind to do it for me because I didn't want to mess it up too much. So I got 2 ounces of this 100% wool roving. Like, look at those colors. Like, I just saw this one in the store. It's like, hey. There's also this beautiful purple and blue one. I got 2 ounces of that as well. Oh, this is also 100% wool. Yeah, she wrote like 100% wool on it, so that way I would know it because I don't have a label for this. And this is dyed yarn that they have. It's 57% mohair, 12% wool. And what's nice about this is they have a sheep farm. The sheep farm isn't quite here, it's a little bit up the road. They mentioned like what batch of sheep it came from, like which batch of wool, which was nice. And I got like such a nice color yarn. Yeah. I also got this yarn too. It's also worsted, but it's a little bit thicker. Such a lovely color. And then they were selling hand spun yarns. So those yarns that were spun there. So this is one of those hand spun yarns. And then the rest are not farm yarns. They had this in the yarn sale section. It is the first yarn I've ever seen that claims to be permanently moth-proof. That is something knitters do and crocheters and other yarn enthusiasts do want, because moths wreak havoc, and I hope I never have one, knock on car. But I am curious what makes this moth-proofed. It feels a bit rough. And it's Bernat. This is an old Bernat label. Bernat labels don't look like this anymore. This is only $2. And then this had no label. This is 100% cotton. I thought it might have been a farm yarn, but I found out it was not. There's this other yarn. It's called Tree Frog. It's super soft. It's a cotton. It says machine washable. And then this was in their sale bin. It's another brand I don't remember seeing. It's like Cabela yarns. Super soft. I think this is a maraschino wool mix. Yeah, extra fine merino. Did I say maraschino? That's a cherry. I mean, that was red, but still. And then this was another brand I hadn't seen before. Jill Eaton, I think it is. Yeah, Jill Eaton. And then I got one more thing. And this is the bulk of what I got there. So let me just put things back in the bag first. All right, you ready for it? This right here, this box, that's a loom. I got a loom. I did see the loom for weaving when I was in Ireland. I did enjoy weaving. It does seem less intimidating. When I was in Ireland, I had to worry about the airplane. I had to be really conscientious about how much I was buying and what I could bring back. With the Maine yarn cruise, I am driving, so I have all this trunk space, plus the back seat if I need it. So I don't have to worry about this as much, so I can get a loom like that, yeah? Now the cash register for the yarn store is in the same place as the restaurant. It's all downstairs, and I was doing this in the middle of the breakfast fresh. Thank you very much to Gloria and Connor for being very patient and working through that. Yeah, this is a very, very nice place. There are dogs just running around. It's so cute. Like, I'm staying at a place with a dog right now, so when I return home today, she's going to smell the cat and the dogs on me, and it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts, because the dog that I'm staying with likes other dogs but does not like cats. I'm gonna get going onto my next shop. I'm at a Wrinkle in Time farm, and this place is amazing. I got greeted by some dogs as I drove in. Like, the dogs were very excited that I was here. It's a cute little shop. So it's basically like the front part is with the yarn and the roving and whatnot. They have a huge needle felting collection. They also like have yarn that's like from the sheep that are near here. Like, they have their own sheep right over there. We're going to sort of clip of some of the sheep here now. Look at the sheep! Even though like the yarns, the needle feltings were amazing, I think the part that stands out to me is how friendly they are here. Like, I was greeted by Marty right as I came in, and like a little bit later her partner Marianne came to talk as well, and they had some people here who used to be artist residents a couple months ago. They're named Rachel and Alyssa, and it was pretty cool to talk to them as well. They're into knitting and spinning, and they, like, Alyssa showed me how like part of the spinning that the hank worked. It was like the knitting addle, I think it was called. But let me show you what I got, because some of the stuff I got here was pretty cool. They were also selling stuff from Marty's niece. So this is roving that she made from the yarn that they have here. Marty was telling me about their transitions yarn. So it's actually a two-person dye job that she mentioned that they do. And she explained the process. It involved winding the yarn and then dipping, like filling a bowl full of the dye and then dipping the yarn in, and it was pretty cool. This here is a lovely skein. It's made from the sheep that they have here, I think. Yeah, they have a little picture of the sheep inside. But look at this colors. It gives a very fall vibe. It's like, ooh. They had a needle felting kit, so I got one of the kits. Really like this mermaid. There's a nice variety of the fibers there. I also got some hand roving that they made here as well. And we were talking about projects and exchanging information and whatnot. So I was showing off some of the things I did. So you're not really seeing this in this video, but if you came to my videos from Instagram, you may have noticed I've been holding up this little guy, this little pentavis thing. It's basically a cute internet thing that I saw, and I thought like I'd give it a try, you know, because I knew I was going to be on this road trip. So I showed this off, and Marty mentioned, hey, if we have a bunch of cotton that we are willing to sell you, if you want to use it to stuff a bunch of your things. And I was like, yes, please. So she took me out to the barn, and I pulled out 8 ounces of cotton. And this stuff feels amazing. I love this place. This is like, they are so friendly here. And like, you can see the animals, and like when I came back from the barn, the dogs that were barking at me came up to like greet me. So it was kind of nice. Like, they were labs, kind of like similar to the dog that my grandma has with the lab mix, but the dog that my grandma has is starting to get aged, so they kind of remind me of when she was younger. But yeah, it's like I got to see like the spinning wheels. They had carters in the back room. It was this was a very nice spot. I just came out of Good Karma Yarns and Soap, and it's a very nice little place. It's run by a couple. Their names are Jim and Amy, and Jim spins all the yarns while Amy dyes them, I believe. Yes, I think I got that right. They make all their own yarn pretty much, and they have it, so it's pretty much all their brand. It's 60% wool and 40% alpaca. It's all pretty nice stuff. So I got this seafoam wool, color. It's a very nice colorway. I also got this turquoisey type of color too. Also, Amy saw my sweater when I came in and she's like, "Oh, I've been waiting to ask someone about this cotton." So she actually mentioned that they're going to be attempting to start dyeing and spinning cotton yarn. So she asked me to see which yarn felt better. And then, you know, I actually liked it so much I asked her if I could buy it. So this is the cotton skein. Like, what a pretty green, right? And this is actually a little bit of the rougher one. The other one was a bit smoother, but this one just called out to me. It's like, I love this one. And then they also make soap. So I got some of their soap. This one's called the Bug Dope Soap. So it smells kind of like the old candles, which I figured since they also sell soap, it'd be good to try. And they have a 3D printing business. So it turns out they got into this business because they used to have a screen printing business, and then they were raising alpacas, and they thought like, well, the yarn was taking too long to get a return from being dyed. So they're like, let's just dye it ourselves, yeah? But they also have a 3D printer there, and they were 3D printing these little bird whistles. So I'm not going to try it right at this moment. I'm going to insert a clip of me trying it a little bit later on. But with this, I basically just pour water into here, and then I just blow. Oh, I pour water down the spout, I think, and then I blow, and it sounds like a bird song. And Jim played a little bit of it, and it sounds pretty. He says it's more obnoxious when you don't put water in it. The last thing that I got from here is a weaving kit. This has pattern, and it has the different threads that I can use to weave, which, I mean, I literally just bought the heddle loom today. This will be like a good first project to try in case there's not any yarn for me to just mess around with in there. We got along famously, actually, and they found out that I had a YouTube channel. They invited me to come back and film. So there's going to be another little video clip of showing how they make the yarn here, which I'm really excited for. Me and Jim also showed me the spinning wheel that they had. They had like a very high quality spinning wheel, which they found it like the guy made at least 77 because they have number 77. It's an amazing piece of carpentry. Like, I haven't seen carpentry that good since the pieces my grandfather made. This was a nice little shop, and both Amy and Jim were very friendly. And I'm excited to be coming back here. I've actually rearranged the shops a little bit on my schedule so that way I can make sure I come here, because that was too good of an opportunity to pass up. I just came out of Fiber and Vine, and it's a pretty good store. Fiber and Vine is a mix yarn and wine shop, hence the name Fiber and Vine. And I didn't get any wine because even though I do appreciate a good wine, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get across state lines. And I don't want to try. I don't want to try that. So I just focused on the yarn. So I got two kits actually. So they had this cowl kit. They had like the cowl worked up in the store. And like I saw the yarn, it's like, it's blue and orange inside. I'm going to be excited to make that. And then they also had this 24-hour cowl, and I liked the purple color, the dark purple color. So I got that one. She had some Noro on sale in her sale bin. So I got this one. And I got this one because they were both very, very soft. And also the colors are pretty good. And then there's this other one. Apparently they just got in. It's called the Fiber Company, and this is super soft and squishy. The store owner also got the same one when she said it just came in. So yeah, silk, baby alpaca merino wool, that's pretty soft, yeah. All right, this next one, I'm gonna move the phone. I'm not necessarily gonna hold it up, even though it might not do it justice, unfortunately, but there's a lot of little moving parts. She had basically little balls of roving all around the bottom for needle felting, but we can spin with it too. So I try to get a little rainbow collection. So there you go. We have our little roving right here. We got 13 balls of it. So maybe I might try to actually make a little rainbowish yarn with that, or if I get more into needle felting, I could try using that as well. But I got a free pattern. I had a choice of different patterns, and that's pretty cool. The rest of them were mostly cows, which I don't necessarily always go for cows, despite the fact I bought 2 cow kits here. Again, the scarf and not the moo cows. Person also threw in a little soak. She gave me a option of a scentless one, which was good because I don't know how I will like the different scents. But this is to help clean the wools, which is pretty nice. So the store owner, Kim, is very friendly. We were actually exchanging book recommendations because she had a collection of books. And I could kind of tell that it might not have been for sale, so I did ask, and it turns out, no, it was just her personal library. There was a book that I liked, so I got the publication information for it, so that way I can look it up for myself. And she also told me about another book that was very good about the history of fabric that I gotta look up. It's called Worn. She was also telling me she was just watching a documentary about like cave bones, I think it was, where they found a new species of hominid and they buried themselves, and she was talking about how impressive it is that the thing that people make and leave with themselves is amazing because you never know who's gonna find it or like how long it's gonna last. Yeah, we are actually way earlier in the day than I was expecting to be done. It's like 2 o'clock now. So there is a gelato place across the street. I might go into the gelato place for something to eat, and also because I do sense I'm going to need a bathroom. I'm not sure if I feel like leaving just yet. And then I will have to decide whether I just want to end it here for today or if I'm going to hop onto another store. But I finished all the stores I planned for today. You can always rearrange stuff, yeah. I just came out of Port Fibers. Now, Port Fibers is not officially part of the Maine yarn cruise, but I was looking at, like, from the last stop, I was looking at where I could go with a couple hours and actually have enough time to browse the store, and the nearest store would not have been enough time. But Port Fibers was. So I decided to stop there, especially since one of the other stores I went to highly recommended them. So I went down and whew, they got some good stuff here. There's a lot of roving. It's about equal roving and yarn, I would say. And there was a lot of spinning stuff, a lot of felting stuff, a lot of, a fair amount of weaving stuff too. And I got some pretty good yarns here. Like yarns I have not been seeing in any of the other stores so far. So this right here is a skein from a lady in Romania. She does minimally processed yarns. I'm gonna put her name right in the little tag area right here because I can't think of it off the top of my head. I took a picture of the tag. I took the one color skein that did not have a tag because that was the one I liked the best. She had a very nice tag on it though. And then there's this brand called Peace Fleece. This color is Blue Jay. It's 95% Navajo, Rambouillet, and domestic fine wool, and 25% mohair. So it's probably with the Native American population that made this. There's a local dyer who sells their stuff in the store. Their name's Dilettante, and they had some skeins. So this is a very soft skein in colors that I love. This one is 100% hand painted baby alpaca. Looks pretty nice, right? That beep there was not directed at me, it was directed at the cars that were in front of me for not moving because there's a stop sign. I'm just staying in the trunk of my car so I get like a nice good lighting, yeah. A brand that I did recognize I saw there was Spin Cycle. I see Spin Cycle, but I have not seen the plump yarns yet. And I saw some plump yarns here, and according to the person in the store, Kendall, she said that these just came out in the past month. They weren't like this before. I was about to go for a different color, but then I saw this and it's like, oh, I can't resist this. And they had these hand spun yarns. They showed the person who spun it on the card. So this one's spun by Gulmira, and they are a member of the Sogdiana Spinners of Northern, I'm gonna mispronounce this, Tajikistan. So it's nice that I'm gonna have to research this a little bit more. I am gonna leave the link to the site down below because this is an interesting concept. Like you can actually see the person who spun your yarn and know that your purchase is helping to support them. Yeah, I think the rest is roving. This is like the bougie roving. So there's this white roving, which, I mean, the color might not be the best, like most exciting visually, but let me tell you, this is one of the softest things I have ever felt in my life. So they put a tag on it. Oh, the name is Naked. I mean, that makes sense. So, oh yeah, this is 60% merino and 40% silk. That's why it feels so soft. And then this other one was definitely like a splurge. This one is 50-50 yak and silk. This is almost $50, but not quite 50. This color is called Rose Garden. I mean, look at that. This is the type of thing I might hold on to a while and try some of the other like rougher fibers first, just so I get a hand of it, and then I go into the bougie fiber, yeah. And then they had this cotton. This is a cotton mix that they had, and it's so soft, so soft. I love that there's cotton and it's not just wool. And then this right here is upcycled sari silk. When people make saris and they have like the leftover waste from like with the thread and whatnot, they recycled it into this roving, so I can turn it into a yarn. That's pretty amazing. And the last thing I got was a tool. So back when I was at the Wrinkle and Time farm, one of the people visiting, Alyssa, she showed me how she used this device. I think she was calling it like a nitty natty or nitty knotty, to show me how the hanks were wound. And then I saw like how they turn like those hanks into like the skeins that you expect to see. And I saw one here, so I got it. I'll have to put it together. But I realized when I've been spinning some of the yarns, like my skeins so far aren't very big. But I do have I have bought a lot more roving since then. And some of them might be pretty big. And even though I would turn a skein into a ball eventually, they might not want to be a ball right away. Or they probably shouldn't be a ball right away. So I can give that a shot too. Give that a little bit of a try. I am very happy that I made the stop here to Port Fibers. It's a very delightful store, and Kendall is very helpful. She was actually in the process of taking pictures of some of the roving for their website, and I got to see her setup because I know like that is something I want to get better at, is getting better at filming things with proper lighting that either doesn't wash me out or or is too dark. I know if you watch other videos on this channel, you've probably been victim to that. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like I got to see her set up, so now that's something that I could consider doing to help improve my photography in the future. I think at this point I'm gonna start heading home. It is like close to 5 o'clock-ish now, so at this point when I head home, I will either be there slightly after supper or right at supper time. We'll see. I'm back to where I'm staying, and it was a nice drive. I mean, there was some rain in the late afternoon or early afternoon there, mid-afternoon, some part of the afternoon. So like I did end up stopping by the gelato place that was nearby. I'm going to insert a little clip of that place now. It was pretty good gelato. The consistency was pretty close to gelato. Although there was part that made me think it was ice cream, but they were on the struggle bus today because their cash register was broken, so they were only accepting exact change because they also couldn't open up the cash register. Fortunately, I had exact change, even though I barely use cash anymore, but it's like, it's always good to have just some in there, yeah? There were some weird signs, like I pulled in by some weird places. So like the very first farm, Nizencott farm, like across the road from it, there was a rabbit tree. And it was like, what a good name. It's probably like a place to grow rabbits. Unfortunately, if they're breeding rabbits like that, that means they're probably going to be eaten. I don't like thinking about that. But just the name Rabbitry is funny. Like when I pulled in front of the fourth store, like I pulled in front of a Christian Science reading center. And it's like, oh wait, this is a Scientology building. It's like, it's something I've seen online, but I've never seen in real life. It's like, I guess they're everywhere, huh? On the way home here, I made a wrong turn and I pulled into a gravel pit. Not just like a pit full of gravel, but more like it was a pit where they sell gravel. Like they have the huge mounds of gravels. It's like, I've never seen one of these this close before. It's like, yep, just thankfully there's enough spot to do a U-turn there and just turn around, yeah? I think I know what rearranging I'm going to do for tomorrow. I'm still going to go to the store and plan on going, but do a little bit of changing there because I have a better sense of how big Maine is now. This was a very lovely day. I had a very good time today. And I loved every place that I went to. Yes, now time for me to prepare for tomorrow. Hopefully work on some sort of a test pattern today. Because I know I need to make some progress on that. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, so at my last job, I had to wear safety shoes. They're basically shoes that they required us to wear that protected our toes so that way if anything fell on our feet, like our toes wouldn't get crushed. By the end of the time that I was there, you had to buy them the week you started working there. The last time I ended up having to buy the safety shoes, I got the set of boots that I'm wearing today. I'm going to insert a clip of them here. Because why not be stylish about it, right? Like, if you have to wear these, you might as well wear ones that look good. And honestly, if I'm not wearing my knitting stuff, they are the most complimented part of my wardrobe. But with a warehouse, there's like an ambient noise of conveyor belts that hides a lot of the awkward noises. And I am reminded when I bring this into like store floor with like the tile and the linoleum and whatnot, that these shoes are, or like even just walking on concrete, these shoes are squeaky. They are squeaky. You can hear me coming from feet away. Maybe not miles away, but a good several yards, yeah? And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Okay.